place where the magic happens. Conversations flow and the laughter snapping. Here at Netter's Network, where the stories come alive. Every episode's a journey, every guest a drive. Netter's Network, tune in for the show, where the headlines meet the heart, and we all get to know. From the highs to the lows, we've got it all in tow. Netter's Network, where the world's on the go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Netter's Network Thursday Things. Tonight, I don't have a guest per se, it's just me and Troy.
I'm kind of a guest, right?
Let me finish my intro.
Sorry.
So tonight, joining me, of course, is that guy at the end of the bar, the love of my life. You know that guy. Troy Pacelli, how you doing tonight, sweetie? And what you sipping on?
Doing well. Right now, I'm sipping on a Diet Dr. Pepper.
And I've got a Signature Select seltzer water mixed berry.
Awesome.
Yeah, because water is good for you, supposedly. Before we get into things, because it's Thursday Things, see what I did there?
Yeah.
Let us say hello to the chat. So first up at 3:34 p.m. is FKHC 2005, also known as Tim.
Yep.
Then, of course, Lady Miss came in at 5:07 with her pretty hearts and flowers for me, saying good afternoon. Big Al, have a great show tonight, my friends. Then there's that Netter lady saying hi to that Troy guy. We have Connie Cleary saying hello to the chat. Deleted Scenes coming in with his salute. Hello, and like, share, subscribe, and become a member. I appreciate that. Thank you. And then, of course, he dropped all the, what do you call them, emoticons? Emojis? The things. He dropped the things. Let's see. And there's that last call guy saying hello to everybody. Big Al. Oh, I said him earlier, but he came back.
Yep.
And Age Boomer, how you doing, sweetie?
Boomer.
Saying hi here. Oh. Tim said I won $100 on a $10 ticket in the lottery.
Oh, nice.
Congratulations. Nice. That's always a nice thing. I remember I had one of those scratch-off ones. It's the ones where it kind of looks like a crossword puzzle, and they give you certain letters at the top. So you scratch off all these letters at the top. There's usually like something like 10 letters. And then you have to find those letters in the crossword. And if you actually make words, so if you scratch off enough to make words, you get like prizes, I think, for 3 words and up. And I thought on one of them that I only won like $5 based on how many I counted. Didn't realize I missed a couple. I actually had won $20, and I thought it was like cool. So it's like, yeah, it's always nice when you win something. But that's really great. $100, wow. So that means you're buying the drinks tonight?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
And, given the price of eggs, while I was out this evening, I stocked up on eggs.
You got the Easter eggy things I like.
Yep. I got robin's eggs, and I got, what are the other ones? The mini eggs.
Yeah, those are those have chocolate inside, whereas the bigger ones have malted milk thingy inside, which I didn't think you liked.
Oh yeah, I like all that stuff.
It's like, and of course, right now, Easter candy is seriously overpriced, so I know you spent way more than you should have on these.
Well, it was buy one get one for $1. So.
Okay, so if that one's yours, where's mine? Ooh, okay. I get chocolate.
I actually got a bunch of these.
How much did you spend on all this? I'm just curious.
I
now.
don't know.
Yeah, he's lying. He's giving me that look like, I don't know.
It was less than regular eggs cost. That's not saying a lot, is there? Oh, Clue Channel, welcome.
Clue Studio.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, it's Clue Studio. I keep forgetting.
Yeah,
when you guys change your branding, I kind of forget.
It's right there in front of you.
I know. Well, like all the people that call me Tony in emails.
And then we have Finite, the Timey-Wimey Limey. I love that name. It's so much fun to say.
Yes, it is.
So welcome everyone tonight. So we don't have an extra guest per se. It's just me and Troy. So we're going to kind of talk about what we got coming up, what's going on. Troy, why don't you start so I can finish saying hello to people in the chat?
As long as I'm saying hi to Finite, the Timey-Wimey Limey, we will be having some discussions coming up on Last Call on Friday nights about Doctor Who very, very soon. But not this week. But I can't remember what we are talking about. Boomer, if you're still here, what was the topic we decided on? Because I got to make up the thumbnail and create the stream for tomorrow night.
Yeah, and in preparation, Troy has dug out his Doctor Who books. They're huge.
Oh, Finity, the Timey-Wimey.
That's what I said.
I said it wrong.
Oh.
He's correcting me. And
Jesse Green.
I guess I was thinking I expected it to rhyme with Timey-Wimey Limey. Finite, the Timey-Wimey Limey. Oh, right. Tim Burton's. Oh, it's kind of cool that that's actually perfect timing because I'm going through my comics right now, and I just came across all of my Tim Burton, the Batman 89 onward comic book adaptations of it. So they are easily accessible for tomorrow night. That's going to be something to look forward to. That's going to be some
hello to Jesse Green 619.
Oh wow, good to see you, my friend.
So let's see. I took a poll to see if my members would be interested in me doing a members only stream after Thursday Things. And for those who actually responded, it was overwhelmingly yes, you would like a members only stream right after Thursday Things, because Thursday Things usually lasts about an hour, unless I've got a guest that is really enthusiastic and wants to talk a little bit longer. So, excuse me. So,
although there's going to be one issue with that, because one of your VIP member is
I hadn't thought of that.
Has a stream right after.
I was just thinking what would be a good day with it. I was thinking what would be a good day. What conflict?
Well, you're not doing that tonight, right?
No, not doing it tonight.
So you can get with him afterwards behind the scenes and figure out.
Well, I don't want him to have to change his show because I made a boneheaded error.
But he is your VIP member, so like I said, talk to him about it and decide what you guys want to do.
Yeah, I might have to choose a different day or something, or do it before my regular Thursday.
And have you decided what kind of format you wanted to do with that? Like,
anyone that wants to come on and talk, they are invited in, and so like you're all the panel because you're all members, and as many as I could fit on. And if you want to come in and then leave, and then
cycle them in and out. Yeah. So yeah, membership has its privileges. So something to think about there.
And now I think I said hello.
Be a great opportunity to talk to Netter directly.
Yeah. Okay, I think now I've said hello to everyone in the chat, like typing in my hellos. When
I set up the stream, because I tend to be her production guy behind the scenes. I called it March Madness because this is the first stream of March. And thank you so much, Clue
cool.
Channel.
Thank you.
New member. There you go.
Did you highlight? Okay, I'm highlighting.
And
Woohoo!
so keep an eye on that membership tab for when she's going to start doing the. You're going to have to decide you could just call it Thursday membership stream, but the stream
Members only stream.
Yeah.
Real simple.
It's simple. When that's going to be and when that's going to start. Of course, the membership stream will also be where she'll drop the link. Right now it's StreamYard link. Maybe going forward it's going to be EVMux. We'll see. But let me think. So March Madness. I was thinking because today is the first Thursday stream of March, and at least in this house, things are starting to get kind of crazy. Not that we're following like basketball or anything. March Madness is basketball, right? This is basketball season, right?
I don't know. I don't follow sports ball.
Well, anyway.
But I like this. Clue said, I don't want to miss anything. They're so sweet.
That is so sweet. Well, that's actually the great thing about these streaming things. Even if you're not there live, you can be there Memorex.
Exactly.
Because we still have the streams up. What was I going to say about it? Oh, yeah. So things are starting. Yeah, a rabbit hole. I kind of get easily distracted. Affinity was breaking the rhyme, so I dropped the affinity part. Oh, so it's now just timey-wimey-limey. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I was able to, make a suggestion you liked. Will be easier to remember too, because I don't have a long attention span, so the shorter name will actually make it a lot easier. Boy, you don't know how many times I screw up. What is it? Nate's
Geek Flag with Nate
Geek
knows.
Flag with Nate knows 1975. See, that's the.
I never say the
And it's underscored, and I always spell it wrong. But it's wait, what's it say? I have to bring the comment up just because I'm playing trombone here in little tiny letters. If it's a Wednesday and Friday, not good for me. I'm doing watch parties those days every week. Yeah, she was planning to do it Thursdays, but then she realized, oh yeah, right after this is Coming Attractions on Thursday. So, we'll have to talk to Deleted and see what we want to do about that. But yeah, getting kind of crazy, and a lot of things changing on the channels. I told you February. I was saying this. I don't remember if I said it on Sunday or on Friday or on Saturday. I don't know. The streams kind of run together for me now, but things are getting kind of crazy. February, I have come to realize from firsthand experience, and not just all the YouTubers that had been saying it, is really the hardest time for streamers because the watch time drops off really a lot, and you lose a lot of members for whatever reason. I'm sure that there is some corollary fiscal reason that people drop their memberships in February, but
they're in the winter blues.
I don't know, but so obviously as we go into spring, we're going to start obviously trying to make a push for members, trying to make a push for subscribers, try to get the numbers up, really try to make the channel work. And that's kind of paralleled in our behind the camera life too, because I'm trying to get the house straightened up. This is going to be a big year for spring cleaning for us. We have a lot of stuff in the garage that we got to get rid of. We
Yeah, I
gotta
actually
find
have
some stuff and
a charity group
organize.
coming next Thursday to pick up a bunch of stuff from my basement clean out. And I mean, I've got something like 20 boxes, I think, that I'll be putting out for them to collect next Thursday.
Thanks, Clue. I knew someone would set me straight on.
No, college basketball.
Yeah.
But like with any home, you're always finding things that you can donate or throw out or, you know, whatever. So it's like getting rid of this big chunk, though, will totally help. And I actually have pictures of befores and afters of what my unfinished part of my basement looked like. It was a hot mess. It's a better hot mess now.
I very much encourage anyone who is currently a homeowner or thinking about becoming a homeowner in the near future. There's 2 movies that I recommend you see. One is The Money Pit.
I knew you were going to say that.
With
Goldie Hawn, isn't it?
No, I thought it was Shelley Long.
Oh, Shelley Long, yeah.
And I don't remember who the dude was.
Well, I can look it up.
And the other one is the Amityville Horror. Because I am convinced that that was not a supernatural horror. That was...
Tom Hanks.
It was Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks and Shelley Long.
I am convinced that is home ownership. You got the frost forming on the windows because of bad insulation. You got flies accumulating because they're attracted to the smell of the septic tank that's backing up and causing the walls to ooze black ichor. You know what that is. That's sewage. The priest gets sick from the smell. It is problems in the house. I don't think there's anything supernatural about that.
Yeah, if you watch the Amityville Horror as a homeowner and you're like, yeah, this happened because of this happened because of this, you can figure out that it's just maintenance gone wrong in the house. That portal to hell, they just need their septic tank cleaned out.
Yep, see? Told you.
Now, what's really weird, in our house, and I don't know why, one of the previous owners decided to dig 2 holes in the unfinished part of our basement for the, what do you call that thing? What's that thing called?
The sump pump.
Sump pump. So we've got 2 holes. And when we moved in, he had the main pump in one, and he had the backup in the other one. You don't need to do that. You seriously don't.
Here's the thing. I think that originally it was meant to be that one was supposed to be for gray water and the other one was supposed to be for...
But they're connected. Both holes are connected.
I know. That's what I was saying. I think originally they were supposed to be separate, but now they're just the one. So whatever.
It's weird. Yes, I'm eating an egg. That's yummy.
Well, I'm glad I was able to encourage you with eggs.
I'm trying not to crunch.
Thank you, Boomer. Not only did you tell me, but you also DM'd me to remind me what the stream is for tomorrow.
Geek Flag 18 with a $2 super chat. Thank you. Don't be too sure. I grew up in a haunted house.
I am not saying that I don't believe in supernatural stuff. I just think that particular one was not legit and very easily explainable by anyone who's ever had problems with a home.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned several times before that we have spirits in our house, and sometimes we get some mischievous ones here because, like, for example, in our shower, I've got one of those shower caddies that's in the corner of the tub, so it goes from the tub to the ceiling, and it's got 3 racks on it for like the shampoo and conditioner and all that stuff.
Okay.
And one of my shampoos was kind of hanging off the one of the the baskets. And I asked Troy, I was like, why did you hang my shampoo off the basket? Because it's got one of those kind of L lips at the top, so, so you can pump. So it's a pump top. So it kind of looks like a L at the top. So you can actually hang it on something if you really want to, but that's actually not good for the pump. But I asked him, I was like, why did you hang my shampoo on the shelf? He said, I didn't. I'm like, well, I certainly didn't. I hadn't even touched that particular shampoo in a while because I've been switching on and off. And I hadn't been using that one. So I never touched it. He never touched it. But some entity in our house, and it's only me and him, hung my shampoo off the shelf. And then there was something else that was out of place. And I'm like, what is this doing here? Troy hadn't touched it. I hadn't touched it. But every once in a while it happens.
So the timey-wimey-limey says, oh yeah, so what's the Doctor Who homework? I hope it's Tom Baker.
My first Doctor.
We're probably going to start with, or at least what Boomer and I had talked about was that we would start by talking about like the first three Doctors. Definitely give I think all of us on the panel will give our story about how we started watching Doctor Who, how we started getting into it, and start getting into some of that original stuff. I'll show off some of my custom cases for all the DVDs and so forth.
Yeah, Troy actually has all the Doctor Who episodes up to when?
Capaldi. All through Capaldi.
Yeah, that's like...
Because that's where the show ended.
Yeah. It got to a point where, like, who's running this stuff? Who's in charge of the circus? Because this is not Doctor Who.
Yeah.
This is somebody's woke agenda trying to force things. And it's like, no. And then once they came and said, oh, well, all of the history of Doctor Who didn't ever actually happen. It's all basically a lie. I'm like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and I have to say, I feel like, and I don't want to go down a political tangent here, but you can't at least obliquely reference politics in this regard. I do feel that changes are happening swiftly. I think the response to the cultural
Did you take down my...
I did not. I didn't touch anything. I have spent the last 4 years analyzing Back to the Future, first movie only. That is interesting. Do you have a video up on that? Because I would love to check that out. I love good time travel. I did about a year of time travel story watch parties on my channel. And I've archived the commentaries now. They're member-only videos. But there are some really good time travel movies, and there are some really, really bad time travel movies. And I was sharing that one that was a great book, but a terrible movie. In fact, it was embarrassing. I read the book Timeline by Michael Crichton of Jurassic Park fame, and so many other really good, like, hard sci-fi stories. I read Timeline, and the only way I could describe it was it did for time travel what Jurassic Park did for the idea of cloning and genetic manipulation and stuff. This idea that they use enough real world science to make what they're describing plausible. So when they talk about in Jurassic Park, the extraction of the DNA, and because it's degraded, they had to fill it in using CRISPR. I forget what the designation, CRISPR, the gene manipulation retrovirus. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I could almost believe that's legit. And then in Timeline, they're talking about time travel, and they make reference to the double slit experiment. And they get into all kinds of quantum stuff, and you start looking it up, and you're like, holy crap, this is real, you know? So it actually seemed plausible. And it's time travel to the Middle Ages, and he got all of his history right about that too. And so when I saw they made a movie of it, I took my buddies to go see it. I was talking up the story, how great it was. Michael Crichton, you know, they knew who Michael Crichton was. We're halfway through the movie, and I turned to him, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, guys. The book was so good. They're like, it's not your fault. The movie was just terrible. It was just terrible.
I have come to the conclusion that books are definitely better than movies. For one thing, you can put more in a book than you can in a movie. You can describe something that seems impossible in a book, but you can't necessarily pull that same thing off in a movie. Because movies are condensed versions of books, a lot of stuff gets cut out that, yeah, you're like, well, where's this thing that happened in the book? Or they'll change something. It's like, that never happened in the book. What's this thing? Somebody takes creative license. So books are always better, in my opinion.
I don't remember what I was going to say. Someone that an artist who was very vehement that his stories not be adapted to film. And although I agree, although the guy is batshit crazy on this particular point, I very much agree with him. That's Alan Moore, who did not like the idea that they were making a movie out of Watchmen. He said, I wrote a graphic novel. That was the medium I chose to tell my story in. It should not be adapted because it was intended for a particular medium. You know, so anyway.
Well, Timey-wimey-limey, he said he did have a YouTube channel, but now the time travel is going into a 100-page book. Wow, for time travel. Having graphics definitely helps, yeah. If you want to come on, I dropped this in the chat too. If you want to come on and talk about like the Back to the Future, like your in-depth stuff, I'd love to have you on as a SME. I'm on Twitter. The little banner at the bottom shows my Twitter handle. Drop me a DM and let me know when you'd be available to come on. I'd love that.
Yeah, in relationship to what we were talking about with Jurassic Park, yes, I did see that the woolly mouse. Look, there's been talk about bringing back woolly mammoths since I was a kid, and they keep revisiting it from time to time. Things are getting closer and closer, but honestly, the cloning technology is not there yet. The vast majority of attempts to clone animals fails. And that's effectively what they're doing when they are bringing back animals that we, that are extinct, but they have the DNA of. They're basically making clones of them, and they ran into compatibility problems. It's not safe for the host mother, and the technology just isn't there. But this is how science works, right? You gotta start small, literally and figuratively, and work your way up. There's no way they're going to be able to do this with a woolly mammoth if they can't do it with a mouse, right? Well, it looks like they've kind of sort of done it with a mouse, kind of like they kind of sort of did a clone of a sheep with Dolly, so.
I think it'd be great to have a clone of me. So either I or my clone can do, like my work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then the other one can do the stuff that I don't have time to do because I'm working.
Well, the fact is you don't really need a clone for that. You just bring someone else into the family and, just do it that way.
Yes, but that person wouldn't think the way that I do.
Neither would your clone. She would be essentially a twin sister. Or and since we don't have a way to age her up to your age instantaneously, she'd be more like a daughter.
So then would it be child labor if I
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it would be. That is one of the big moral quandaries about cloning. It's not what people think it is.
Yeah. And critical thinking and drinking. Thank you for being here. If a book is good enough, they'll make a movie. Yes, but the movies
they'll do it over and over and over again, and they'll never get it right.
Oh, like The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings,
Dune.
Yeah,
they're even screwing up Dune. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not perfect.
I mean, part of the problem is that when they do make a movie from the book, they don't always necessarily capture the essence of the book. It's like kind of a lot of times I've seen movies that are kind of loosely outline of the book. But then they're throwing stuff that didn't happen in the book. It's creative license of whoever is writing this.
Here's something else. Samuel Proctor, although this wasn't really Samuel's main point, he did make me think of something. Not all books are made equal, right?
Yes.
So I mean, Dune is incredibly difficult to translate into film. Almost impossible. I think every adaptation that they've done so far has had its merits, but none of them have been perfect. But look at films like The Maltese Falcon. Those are based on pulp fiction that weren't that deep, that really do lend themselves to adaptation, right? I would argue even the comic book adaptations that we have, if they actually followed the damn source material, would be really good. Actually, as much as I don't like Man of Steel or any of the Snyderverse films, I do hold up Zack Snyder for his adaptation of Watchmen. I understand why Alan Moore didn't think it should be adapted, but as an adaptation, he actually did a pretty good job because he treated the comic book as though it was his what do you call it? Plotting. The what do they call that when they have pictures of each scene for a movie?
Oh,
the storyboard. Yeah, he treated the comic book as a storyboard. Now, because of its complexity, he had to. It's almost told in 3 parts. You have the narrative of the superheroes. You've got the comic book story that the kid is reading, the pirate story that he's reading, which is actually important. You don't want to skip over that. And in between the comics, they have newspaper articles that give you the history, the back history of these superheroes. And he just focused on just the linear story in real time. But in the DVD extras, he had a motion comic of the pirate story, and he had a documentary type thing that gives all that history. So he was able to get it all filmed. I thought that was actually, really, really good. Definitely avoid character. Yeah, see, that's the other thing, too. Books are great for giving people's inner monologues. That's why Dune is so difficult. And I admire David Lynch's attempt to portray the inner monologue through the, whispered voiceovers. A lot of people thought that was dumb, but it's look, he's being pretty literal about his adaptation here. You know, wait, I feel plagiarized. Okay, there you go. But yeah, so I don't even remember how I ended up on that tangent. I was talking about, oh yeah, time travel film adaptations, and
Because we're talking about Doctor Who
and
time travel.
Back to the Future. Yeah, there's a lot of YouTubers that have done really interesting breakdowns of the time travel. You know, the whole, and you kind of have to, and I've said this about time travel. How does time travel work? Well, time travel works like magic. You create the rules as the writer of the story. Then you have to be consistent. So, you know, you can believe what you want to believe about how time travel would work if it was real, but at the same time, when you're watching a movie or reading a book, you just got to accept the author is God of his world. So you just accept what he's writing. And like, for example, two different models of time travel, right? Back to the Future would suggest that going back in time, you create a new branching timeline. That may be parallel universes, which does kind of seem to be implied by Doc Brown's, chalkboard, explanation. But whatever the case is, you literally overwrite, the history line you came from, and you go back to a new one that you've created. What?
Okay, you know how we've been speculating on Gene Hackman's death and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And one report I saw said that his pacemaker stopped working on like the 17th. And then they were speculating that his wife ran to go get his medicine, fell in the bathroom, hit her head, and she died that way.
Or she may have had a cardiac incident too.
Now there's another article that apparently came out. Oh, no, that's March 4th. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
Old
Gotta
theory.
look at dates.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a whole lot of details there. Anyway, but then there is, of course, the and unless you guys watch this with me, I'd be surprised how many of you would have read the book or seen the movie. The Time Traveler's Wife. The Time Traveler's Wife.
The book is excellent.
The book is excellent. The movie's not bad, but you really want to read the book.
The book is the best on that because they describe some things in there that they really can't do in the film.
But the important point is, and the reason it's told from the point of view of the time traveler's wife, is because think about it this way. I honestly think that Stephen Moffat kind of stole this idea from the time traveler's wife. Imagine River Song, right, telling her linear narrative of meeting the Doctor and how she's always seeing him out of order. That's exactly how the time traveler's wife goes. He doesn't have any control over how he travels through time. It's random. But because of that, his future is kind of predestined. I don't want to ruin it, but his fate is pretty much sealed and it's already known. And being a time traveler does not give you any unique ability to change time. You are part of time, and any decisions you made in the past were already made relative to people in the future and stuff. So nothing changed, or whatever. But so that's exactly what my book is about. No malleable timelines because grandfather paradox. Yeah, or I guess you can't really call it the grandfather paradox, right? There is no paradox. It's impossible to create the paradox. And Doctor Who's played with that, and some other storylines have made that idea too. There was a I can't remember if it was Night Gallery or Twilight Zone. I'm almost positive it was Twilight Zone, where it's a story where a woman goes back in time. She's sent back in time to murder the future dictator of 1930s Germany as a baby, and she goes through all the machinations to do it, but in so doing, and she actually sacrifices her life to kill little baby Adolf, and it turns out that this causes a circumstance where another child is substituted so that the family would not be grief-stricken about the loss of their child, a child that, was an orphan otherwise. And history continues because she was actually part of it. She basically killed the wrong baby is what it was. But anyway, a paradox by definition has by definition a solution, hence no to malleable timelines, because you can't prevent your own birth. Right. So it just cannot happen. The only way they make that into a story is you go with a Back to the Future kind of a thing. Well, see, here's the other thing. There are, another great time, and we did do a watch party of this, the butterfly effect, where he is able to send his own consciousness back to himself at a previous point in his life. He changes history, and when he gets back to his present, he receives a lifetime of memories added on based on, what he just experienced. Very interesting concept. I thought that was kind of a cool take on the Back to the Future style of time travel, because I was kind of sitting here wondering, well, wait a minute. If Marty McFly goes back in time, changes some things, and when he returns, he's in a different present, isn't there a version of Marty in that time that also exists, that only has the memory of that timeline? And the Marty we've been following has no memory of the time between the time he left in the 50s and returned back to the present. All of that history he's got to get caught up on.
Oh, good point.
Right?
Excuse me.
So anyway, totally got off on a tangent, but welcome, Curtis Selby, for the Tired Midnight Blogger Raid.
Hey there, sweetie. How you doing?
You know what? That's a power I think I wanted for a long time, to send back my current memories to a previous me years ago. That, that's kind of, we've talked about that before. If you could go back in time knowing what you know now, would you even change anything? Because the more you change, the less you know, right? I know certain things about, the past, but once you start changing things, those things may or may not ever happen again, right? Back to the Future definitely contradicts itself, but it also gets closer to confronting the grandfather paradox more than literally any other story. That's why it's so fascinating. Yeah, I mean, for narrative reasons, they don't do the obvious thing, right? He prevents his parents from getting together. He should have instantly snapped out of existence. It's kind of weird that the picture's, disappearing, but it's a narrative device to explain kind of what's happening, But anyway. And of course, if you want some really solid, hard time travel, check out the movie Primer. That one's a noodle scrambler.
Oh, yeah.
It's it's easy to plot out the alternate timelines of Back to the Future. it's a little bit more difficult to plot out the alternate timelines of, say, Terminator. But Primer, you'll end up with a nosebleed if you try to figure out all the different timelines involved in just that 1-2 hour narrative.
It's like, or I like the movies where I forget which one it was, that this guy was some sort of an agent or whatever, and then after his assignment was over, they erased his memories of the
Paycheck.
That's it. You know exactly what I was talking about.
It's not really time travel, but it kind of is.
He had set up things,
yes,
so that when he lost his memory, because he knew he'd lose his memory, he would be able to connect dots to figure out stuff to protect himself.
Yeah,
I thought that was amazing.
And he was able to do that because the project he was working on allows you to see the future. So he was actually able to set things up based on the future of himself he was watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, I loved that. It's kind of like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like, oh yeah, we're going to need to have this happen. And at some point they had set it up so that the thing happened. You know, like they get caught in the jail, and it's like, yeah, I think we need to, you know, get my dad's keys or whatever. It's like, and suddenly he's got the dad's keys because he thought to have taken them or whatever at some earlier point. So things like that, it's like, I think that's kind of cool.
Now, back to the Doctor Who thing, that very same, because of course, Bill and Ted revisit that idea in the second movie, and the baddie says, well, I could do the same thing because I can time travel, so I'll just remember to do this, that, and the other. And ultimately, yes, but what you forget is that the only one that can actually do these things is the one who wins, you know? And, or maybe it wasn't that. Maybe I'm confusing it with the next thing I'm going to tell you about. And that's the Rowan Atkinson Red Nose special where he played the Doctor. And interestingly, the first Doctor Who story written by Stephen Moffat, where he gets into a battle with the Master, doing exactly the same thing, where, you know, in the future, I'll make sure that this happens to that. And I don't know which came first, to be honest with you. Back to the Future is awesome, but Troy is better than mine. Oh, thank you so much, Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. Thank you so much. Check out his channel. When you get over to his channel, he should have links to his other channels, because I know he's got 2 other channels. Definitely subscribe, especially if you're into gaming. He's just good people. Great supporter of the channel.
And so, this one's for you, sweetie. Except for when it says closed loop like 12 Monkeys. The time travel in Back to the Future is a self-contradictory mess.
12 Monkeys, I would say, is exactly the same model of time travel as what I was describing in the Time Traveler's Wife. Exactly right. You can go back in time, but you can't actually change anything. And that's kind of the heartbreaking element of 12 Monkeys, because he thinks he can. He has hope for a moment, and then he realizes, oh, he doesn't, you know. But it's too late. And welcome also to Dad Man Walking 55. Good to see you, my friend. Always good to see you. 12 Monkeys. If you saw 12 Monkeys and you liked it, I'm not necessarily saying you should, but I would encourage you to at least check it out. A short film called La Jetée, which is what it was based on, a French film. It's actually a brilliantly told story. It's told in snapshots. I would definitely check it out. I actually have I got them separately, 12 Monkeys and La Jetée, but I put them together in one 2-disc case because that's just what I do. I make custom cases for things that I think belong together. But also 12 Monkeys is also great Terry Gilliam film, and that guy's just nuts. So I mean, that in and of itself is a great movie to watch. Bootstrap paradox notwithstanding, but anywho, yes. I have mixed thoughts about the concept of the bootstrap paradox, because
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so the concept of the bootstrap paradox. Let's say I invent a time machine, and then I go back in time and, well, no, that's not how it would work. What would actually happen is I receive the plans for a time machine from a future version of myself. I then make the time machine and go back in time to give those plans to my younger self. That's a bootstrap paradox. Who invented the time machine? It wasn't really me. I never had to do any work to think up the way to do it.
I see what you're saying.
Where did that idea come from? That's the bootstrap paradox. By the same token, there's a scene in Star Trek 4 where Kirk has the reading glasses that Dr. McCoy gave him in Star Trek 2. And he pawns them in the present day because they need money.
Right.
And I don't remember who it was. I think it was Spock says to him, it's a shame that you had to sell your glasses. Those were a gift from Dr. McCoy. And he says, well, that's the great thing about it. They will be again. Implying that those same glasses would be given to him in the future. But that can't be. Because if they were, think about that. Now, instantly, those glasses become infinitely old. They're caught in a time loop, getting older and older and older with each, loop around. That you can't do.
Yeah, kind of like when Scotty put together the plexiglass sweater for the whales and all that. And it's like, something like, we're going to give this guy credit. Well, how can you give this guy credit? Well, how do you know he didn't invent it? Or whatever.
See, this is why I don't think that this is why I think it's alternate timelines, parallel universes, or whatever. I would compare the time travel of Back to the Future to the time travel of the Terminator. You could argue that it's a bootstrap paradox, but because timelines keep changing, you go back in the other direction and you find a prime timeline where somebody invented the time machine, went back in time, or sent back the Terminator. The Terminator is used to, but that's an altered timeline. In other words, the first timeline we're seeing is already an altered timeline. As soon as the Terminator and Reese show up, it's no longer the prime timeline. Anyway, and by the same token, the universe where Calvin Klein attended the Fish Under the Sea dance or whatever it was, Enchantment Under the Sea dance, was not the prime timeline because that didn't happen the first time around. So, yes, you mentioned Terminator and Sin shows her endoskeleton. I don't know. I have no analogy for that. Welcome, Sin. Good to see you. Yes. That is kind of weird, though. I mean, the one night you show up is right after I mentioned the Terminator. It's just too perfect. But this, actually, I'm glad that came up because here's my thing about, or my biggest, what I was leading up to in my discussing time travel films. You've got to pay attention to what you're doing. I don't care if you've got to do a cork board with red and multicolored yarn to keep track of timelines. You got to keep track of your rules. You got to keep track of your timeline. Keep track of all the minutia. If you make any screw ups, that kind of destroys the whole house of cards.
Yeah, there's a movie. I just saw a clip of it because like during the day on YouTube, you can watch like kind of like shorts. And well, you can watch them shorts anytime, but I'm watching them during the day while I'm working. I'll just like put one up and then scroll up to the next one and then scroll up to the next one and watch these like variety of different things. And one of them, I don't know the name of the movie, but this fellow wakes up and there's an assassin in his room who kills him. He wakes up again.
Oh, right.
And over the course of, it said in the clip that he had been killed something like 1,123 times or something. And he starts to learn the patterns. So
the
it's
movie
like,
is called Boss Level. It's from 2020.
Yes.
And I have the movie, so we can watch it.
And it's like, so he starts learning, okay, when I get up and I sit up, I have to bend over to put my shoe on. So when the assassin goes to slice to take my head off, he actually misses. And then I need to do this thing so that, you know, he trips and falls out the window or whatever, you know, so it's like all these different things. And then he gets to certain points. It's like, okay, I can't get this past this point. How do I get past this point? And he keeps then, you know, like every time he wakes up and he gets to that point, he's like, okay, what's my option now? What's my option now? Until he gets past that point and continues on. And then there's this one portion of this where he just can't get past it. So he goes to a person, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but he goes to a person to help him to be a better fighter, to help him get past this certain point. And it's like, I wonder how many times he had to do
really,
it. Like Groundhog's Day, where he learned how to play the piano.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, it looks a lot like Groundhog's Day, except it's try not to get killed type movie. But yeah. So this is what I was leading up to, Jesse. Your first two Terminator movies work very well together. They start going off the rails after that. And you have different writers with different ideas, with, in fact, even different concepts of time travel. And that kind of really throws off your franchise. Welcome, Sashi.
It's a drive-by like.
It's a drive-by like. Fair enough.
At work, can't hang around. Greetings, everyone. Well, thank you for stopping in. We appreciate it.
But
yeah, time travel movies are interesting, or time manipulation movies.
Yeah, and if you buy into the idea of you know, infinite alternate timelines, and one of those would be a universe where they obtained information from the future, you know, there you go, perfectly fine.
I'm seeing a lot of comments in the chat that Boss Level is a fun movie.
Okay, well, we're just going to absolutely have to watch it then.
You're going to have to do as a rewatch.
I may have to do it as a Monday night at the movies rewatch, absolutely. But that's the other thing too. So the implication is, if you have alternate timelines, you have separate universes, right? They never explore any way that you can, instead of going back in time, kind of slide over laterally to an alternate time. Sliders was a story that basically did that. You know, it was a series where every jump they made was just a lateral move to an alternate universe. They're trying to find the one that they came from. But I do kind of think that I'd love to see a story that does both, where you go back and change something in the past, realize you've created an alternate universe, and then realize there are infinite universes that you could travel between. So now, instead of moving back and forth in time, you move sideways to alternate universes. Actually, there was a martial arts movie like that, wasn't it? The One or something like that, where one guy from an alternate universe is going through all the other alternate universes, killing alternate versions of himself, taking their chi or something like that to become the One. So I guess it's plausible. Yes. In fact, had that conversation with Sin one time that T1 was a closed loop, but then Terminator 2 comes along and introduces multiple timelines, and then it just goes higgledy-piggledy from there. It just, don't even get me started about Genesis.
Okay, I won't.
Yes, Sliders is parallel universes without the time travel. Yeah. I love that show. I have the entire series on DVD. What's heartbreaking is that there was one episode, and I want to say it was fairly early on in the show, where they actually got to the right universe and didn't realize it and continued jumping. And the audience realizes it after they've jaunted out.
Because the whole thing was, every time they got to his house, he'd open the gate and go, no, this isn't it, because it wouldn't make a certain sound.
It squeaked.
And he didn't realize that someone fixed the squeak.
Someone had fixed the, Yeah, you remembered it exactly. Very good. Assassin's Creed has a unique alternative to time travel. Instead of literally traveling through time, you experience a simulation of your ancestors' memories through sci-fi shenanigans. You say that, but I mean, with the way gaming is going now, I would not be too surprised if they couldn't make an Assassin's Creed immersive kind of thing. Now, the memories of the ancestor, that's a little bit more challenging. It would end up being more like a computer-generated facsimile based on all available data to reconstruct something analogous to your ancestors' memories. But yeah, I get what you're saying. That's the only thing I don't like about Boss Level. Pretty much every single sword YouTuber thinks that fists and swords are better than guns. All he needed was a flashbang and a boomstick. Yeah. I have written my nonfiction book, Deconstructing Time Travel, and so time travel is totally banned from my fiction. That's fair. Apart from that one script, right? Edge of Tomorrow, which I have literally sitting right over here, ready to do a watch party of that. Was time travel involving consciousness instead of physical time. Yeah, exactly right. And it also still has the main character be active in it through gameplay, where you have to act like how your ancestor did. Otherwise, it desynchronizes the simulation and you start over again. Yep, that's fair. Those of you that are talking about writers and authors and having published books, give us the deets so that we can share that out, and people can get your books and support you and read them and enjoy them. Sin, your brother, timey-wimey, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Run, Lola, Run. I don't know that one.
I have had authors on before to talk about their books and help boost them. So yeah, I'd love to have them on. Shoot me a DM. I've got lots of weeks open because it's still the beginning of the year, so I haven't really gotten people scheduled yet. So schedule's pretty much open. Let me know when they're available.
Oh, okay. Well, I can give myself some grace on this one. This one flew under my radar because it's a German film, but I'll have to look into this. It's from, 1990 something or other? 98 or so? I'll have to look into this. That looks good. But, yeah, I was thrown a little bit because when the DVD arrived for Edge of Tomorrow, it says, Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. I'm like, they changed the name after they put out the movie? And yes, I know that the original story was called Live, Die, Repeat. I don't care. They called the movie something else. That's what it is. Leave it alone. Quit messing with it, George. Anyway. Yes, I have issues. Anyway, I think I've prattled on long enough. I mentioned this on the on my community tab, and I guess I'll talk about it now for a second too. The Monday night at the movies on Last Call. Going forward, I think I'm going to be changing that up. I think Monday night at the movies is going to become a members only stream. So there's going to be I'm going to shoot for a weekly. I'll shoot to do it continuing on Monday nights going forward every week. Just keeping in mind that things come up like they have. So yeah. The members have already started commenting on, movies they'd like to see and whatnot, and I think too that as a perk for the VIP members, if you would like to co-host the stream with me on Mondays, you absolutely can. And you're under no obligation, obviously, if you can't make it one Monday or whatever, or you're just not into that movie or whatever. That's perfectly fine. But I will drop the link to the platform, in the VIP members chat, so that you have it going forward. I guess that's my way of saying, guys, I could really use the memberships. I really, as time goes on, I've mentioned this on stream before, and Netter and I have talked about that. If anything happens to my contract job, I want to try to make YouTube a full-time thing, and that's kind of scary. And I do see that as a distinct possibility. I don't think this contract is going to last forever. So it's definitely something I want to think about. So just throwing that out there.
And yeah, we've mentioned our lowest tiers are like far less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And it lasts all month.
It's the price of a super sticker,
It's like my lowest one. I think both of our lowest ones is $3, $2.99.
Something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, if you are so inclined, please become a member.
If you're already a member, you want
You're
to
AWESMOE, and we love you.
You wanna follow in the footsteps of Hoove and Ruby Hoove. You could always just gift a membership to some random stranger and help us grow the community. But here's to turning our hobbies into I guess I got to be in StreamYard in order to bring up a comment. Yes, here's to turning our hobbies into a living. You're absolutely right.
I mean, that's my whole thing. I would love for Troy and I to be able to live off of doing this, because, like I said, his contract job, we don't know how long that's going to go on. We don't know how long my job's going to keep me. Things change all the time. And I'd love to have this as a fallback to become our jobs. Like this is how we earn our paychecks. So yeah, getting members, having members, retaining members, and all that is actually really crucial for any channel to grow and to be able to be sustainable. So like I said, if you're not a member, I would appreciate if you would consider becoming one, because it really does help us.
Going back to this, what you brought up about Assassin's Creed, I think it's alluding to this Jungian concept of the race memory. That there's like genetically encoded, and actually Dune plays with this too. This idea that the memories of your ancestors are like in your genes somehow. I think on a biological level, that's only sort of true. I mean, like they assume that the natural instinct to be afraid of things like snakes, loud noises, whatever, is genetically encoded. That's how instinct works, but that's not the same as a actual memory. But if you are interested in that concept, the movie Altered States, that one was, I'm going to have to do that one sometime. I haven't seen that movie in years. That was a great one. The sad part about time traveling is that it's almost pointless. For example, in the Dragon Ball Z series, the future is still a mess and all the heroes are dead. The past benefits to warning. Yeah. You both can certainly run with the topic thrown at you from the chat. Only the top YouTube channels bother to do that. I honestly feel like that's why one of the biggest compliments we get from even some of the bigger channels is what a great community we have. And I think that's at least partly because of the interaction. One of my YouTube heroes is Culture Casino, so I model him a lot. And welcome, Charlotte Nightstar the Werewolf. Good to see you. Always good to see you. And here's her intro with her voice. So there you go. I'll have to check that out after the stream. But actually, after the stream, what I really want to see everybody do is get over to Deleted's channel. Because
if you stay right here, you'll be automatically directed there.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Because he's going to tell you all the things he's got coming up in the next week, because he does so much, I can't always keep track of it. Tomorrow night, like I said, we'll be talking about Batman 89 and Batmania that swept the country and to a lesser extent the world with Tim Burton's film adaptation of Batman. That'll be on Last Call on my channel, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. Saturday, very special watch party over on Big Al Presents Films with Friends with special guest host Evelyn Hampton. They will be watching The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, a classic film.
Classic bad movie.
No, it's a pretty good movie with great special effects for the time. Ray Harryhausen, stop motion animation. So
Ray Harryhausen and Sam Peckinpah needed to get together.
Yeah, I guess so. But another. Oh yes. As a matter of fact, Mr. and Mrs. Dadman Walking have been guests on this channel a number of times. They are wonderful.
Yes, in fact, they were on just a couple weeks ago. So, actually, I can tell you exactly when.
They do happen to have a specific band on Time Travel Talk. That's funny. That is funny. That almost reminds me of the World of Darkness, Werewolf the Apocalypse, where you fall into deep fear when a werewolf transforms into a mighty war form.
For those asking, Dead Man Walking and the Misses were on February 20th on my channel, so go check it out.
Yes, absolutely.
And sorry, what were you saying, sweetie?
I was just reading Jesse's talking about World of Darkness. I love the rule set for World of Darkness. It's a great storytelling role-playing game, and I like the way they dealt with the lore of vampires that is often difficult to navigate and work everything together.
And since I stupidly forgot that there is Deleted's show right after Thursday Things on Thursdays, I'll probably be putting out a new poll, and probably thinking that of doing the members only stream before Thursday things. I don't know. I'll put out a new poll. Y'all tell me what you like. So there's that. Okay, sweetie, any final things?
Nope. Just like excuse me, something went down wrong. Like she says, stay right here because right after this, you'll go right over to Deleted Scenes.
Yeah. And next Thursday, my special guest will be Sporking News Podcast.
Yep. He's good people too. He's
everybody on my channel is good people.
Very supportive, with sharing out the streams and, together we grow and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So, because we want to lift each other up. We want to, encourage one another, which is what my channel is all about. It's just wanting to grow the community and help out other YouTubers, because I may not be a huge channel right now, but I may have people in my chat that other people don't have as part of their own community. So my community is getting to know these people, and then they're like, hey, I know this great YouTuber that I just watched. And then they get more subs and more likes and more interest, and they grow. And that's, the whole thing behind Thursday Things.
There you go.
Yeah. So with that said, because y'all got to go over to Deleted's channel.
Yep. We
can't talk amongst ourselves, and we've been talking amongst ourselves tonight.
Yes.
That's fine. It's a lot of fun to do, but it's more fun with you. I mean, Troy and I talk to each other all day. Well, not all day because our offices are in different spots, but we talk all the time. It's more fun talking with all of you too. You're our family. We enjoy having you around. We enjoy seeing you guys in the chat and seeing your comments and questions and the goofy bits that get thrown in. I mean, I love all that. And I'm so very grateful to each and every one of you for the many, many ways that you support our channels, and encourage me and Troy and whoever else is in our community, like Boomer and Deleted and all that. You guys are amazing. You are AWESMOE. So thank you so very much for being a part of our family and for being a part of our community. Now, like I said, if you're not a member, would you think about becoming one? It's less than a cup of a price. I can't talk. Less than the cup of a price.
Price of a cup of coffee.
Yeah, there you go. That what he just said. That. Yeah. And it lasts the whole month.
Yep.
And like I said, we were both having special member-only streams, and we're coming up with other things for our members, so we'd love to have you there for those. But until next time, good night and God bless. And don't forget to stay right here, and you'll be redirected to Deleted's channel.
Yep.
Good night, everyone.
work. It's all